Welcome to Third Nature Brewing Company. So this is where we're actually going to send our grain up to be cracked. Then it's gonna go in our hammer mill and it's basically gonna turn into powder. And the powder is gonna go all the way up here and it will follow our chain disc system and basically be pulled all the way over to our mash tun. And you'll see right above our mash tun, we've got our silo. That's where all of our malt flour is going to drop into. And you'll notice I'm talking about malt flour. That's because our mill doesn't just crack the grain, it actually turns it into flour. Normally this would be a bad thing, but because we have this, it's exactly what we want. This is our mash filter. We're actually one of 2 breweries in Michigan that has one. And what our mash filter does for us is it allows us to get up to a 98% efficiency, which means less raw ingredient costs. It allows us to get a cleaner wort coming out, which means more or less ingredient costs because it allows us to use less hops. Also allows us to use about 30% less water. So this is in place of a traditional loiter tun. And basically what happens is we'll still mash like, every brewery does. And then when our mash is complete, we're pumping our mash into our mash filter. And basically it's filling up an area between each one of these plates. And then once it's full, we'll start a compression. So it will use air to compress the plates and thus squeeze the wort from our spent grain. And then as soon as we're done, we basically open it up and then our spent grain drops straight down onto the belt that you see below it. And at that point, it's basically granola. We could probably chop it up into doggy biscuits. And then from there, all of our wort is pumped up to the boil kettle. And then from that point on, it's all very traditional. Boil kettle, whirlpool, our heat exchanger, then over to our fermenters. Once it's finished in our fermenters, right into our bright tank for carbonation, add the bubbly, and then into kegs, and eventually into cans.